Good day, grade 11 STEM students, and welcome to the HP Classroom. Today, we will learn all about the standard and general equation of circles. In this video, we need to transform the general equation of a circle to standard form and vice versa. Ang ginamit natin given today is from the previous video, yung ating last condition, na nahanap natin ng standard equation as the squared of x minus 3 halves plus the squared of y minus 3 equals 29 fourths. We need to transform this standard equation into a general equation. How do we do this? By simply expanding the two binomials and equate them to 0 and arrange the variables and constant according to degree. Okay, can we now start? To expand the squared of x minus 3 halves, pwedeng hindi na tayo gumamit ng long method, but if you're convenient with that, okay lang. We can use the special product. The special product says that to expand this type of binomial, simply square the first term. X times x is x squared, and then multiply the first and second term. So we have negative 3 halves x. Then, or maybe we can write it as negative 3x over 2. Then as we multiply it by 2, we can have numerator to numerator, denominator by denominator. We have negative 6x over 2 or equal to negative 3x. Then, square the last term. Negative 3 halves squared is equal to 9 fourths plus 9 over 4 plus square the first term of y squared, then multiply the first and second term, negative 3y, then get the product of negative 3y times 2. We have, kasi gagawin natin, idodoble natin siya. Diba sa middle term, idodoble yung middle term. So you can add it by 2 and you can multiply it by 2. So we have negative 6y. And then, square the last term. 3 squared is negative 3 squared is equal to positive 9. Then, equate it to 0. So we need, through the addition property of equality, we can transpose 29 fourths to the other side of the equation. So it becomes 29 over 4 equate to 0. Now, we will arrange this according to degree. X squared, then plus y squared. Next is x minus 3x. Next, minus 6y. And then combine the constants. 9 fourths plus 9. Okay. Minus 29 over 4 equals 0. And then, copy again, plus y squared minus 3x minus 6y. Then, equate the, let's have the LCD of 4. 9 plus 36 minus 29. Because 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 9 is 36. Then, after evaluating, we have x squared plus y squared minus 3x minus 6y plus 16 over 4 equals 0. And the final answer is x squared plus y squared minus 3x minus 6y plus 4 equals 0. And this is the general equation of the circle with the standard equation, the squared of x minus 3 halves plus the squared of y minus 3 equals 29/4. Now, from just standard to general equation, mapapansin niyo na mayroon siyang a format, and this format will be explained on the next slide. The equation of a circle in general form is ax squared plus ay squared plus cx plus dy plus e equals 0, wherein a must not be equal to 0. However, we need to simplify the equation to x squared plus y squared plus c squared plus dy plus e equals 0. So, mapapansin niyo kanina, babalikan natin yung isang slide. This is x squared. This is y squared. This is dx. What's that? Cx. This is dy. This is the constant and equated to 0. Yan. In order to rewrite the equation back to standard form, himay-himayin natin. When we say A, dapat pareho yan. Pareho ang kanilang numerical coefficient ng circle. Kasi that's why it's circle. Yung x-axis and the y-axis niya is the same ang numerical coefficient. Again, cx and dy is the linear terms for this equation, and e serves as the constant. Ito yung constant of the equation. Yan. Pwedeng ang a can be negative. Ito yung a. The numerical coefficient of x and y can be negative, can be positive, but must not be equal to 0. Kasi pag naging 0 yan, ito ay magiging linear function, hindi magiging circle. Okay? However, ang ibig sabihin ng however, kailangan i-simplify natin yung equation sa x squared, y squared. Pag ibabalik natin siya sa standard form, it means i-divide natin kung ano yung a all over the equation. I-divide natin siya para maging x squared, y squared lang. Kasi we will use the completing the squares. Katulad nung ginawa natin kanina. Hindi ko pala na-explain yun ng further. Completing the squares para maibalik siya into standard form. Okay? So, explain ko siya sa inyo in the next slide. Okay, so yan yung general form ng circle ha. Papansin nyo, pareho ang kanilang numerical coefficient ng highest exponent, which is squared or 2. Exponent 2. Next slide. We need to identify the center and radius of the circle with the given equation. Now, para mahanap natin yung center and radius, kailangan nating hanapin ang standard form. Ang general equation kasi sa padulo, makikita ninyo na kahit naka-general form, na-identify mo pa rin ang equation ng conic section. Doon ginagamit yung general equation. Kahit hindi mo nakikita yung standard form, by the general equation, maalam mo na siya kung siya ay circle, hyperbola, ellipse, or parabola. Yan. So, ngayon, hindi natin mahanap yung center and radius using this equation. Kasi wala tayong nakikita dyang h and k, wala tayong nakikitang radius. So, gagawin natin, transform muna natin siya into standard form kasi this is general form. Para mas madali siguro GE. General equation. I-transform natin siya to SE or standard equation. Now, this is the steps kung paano naman ibalik ang general into standard. Kanina, yung first slide natin, from standard equation to general equation. Ngayon, from general equation to standard equation. Paano yun? Doon nga tayo gagamit ng tinatawag nating completing the squares. So, ang gagamitin natin is completing the squares and i-guide tayo ng steps na ito. Let's start. Let's have another color. Combine, or group pala. Unang combine. Group the terms according to variables. Yan yung first step. Group the terms according to variables. Let's have x squared minus 3x kasi pareho sila ng variable. And then, plus y squared. Igugrupo natin siya kay 6x. And ilalagay natin yung 4 or the constant to the other side of the equation. Magiging negative 4 siya. Now, pag sinabing group, ay group. Then, we will use the completing the squares. We will use the completing the squares. Paano ginagawa yung completing the squares? You will get the numerical coefficient of the middle term, and then you will divide it by 2, and after dividing by 2, squared it. And then, kung anong in-add mo dito sa left side, i-add mo sa right side. Let's have the first group. X squared minus 3x. Para mas madali, lagyan nyo na lang ng blank. Plus y squared minus 6x plus blank equals negative 4 plus blank plus blank. Okay. Let's have negative 3. Negative 3, numerical coefficient lang divided by 2 squared. So, negative 3 times negative 3, positive 9, 2 squared is 4. So, 9/4. Dadagdagan tayo ng 9/4 dito. Lalagay tayo dito ng 9/4. Naintindihan? Kasi nag-completing the squares tayo. Now, let's use negative 6 kasi siya yung middle term. Negative 6, i-divide by 2. Then, is squared. Ano ba yung negative 6 divided by 2? Negative 3. Negative 3 squared is positive 9. So, we will add 9 to the left and the right side. Now, ano sunod na gagawin? Mag-erase lang tayo. Next step is, dito sa baba, express natin into square of binomial. Square of binomial. I-express natin into square of binomial itong ating trinomial. Okay? Express natin. Ibabalik natin siya into square of binomial. And using the special product again, paano yun gagawin? Get the square root of the first term. The square root of x squared is x. And then copy the sign of the middle term. And then get the square root of the last term, which is 3/2. And then put a squared in that. Yun lang. Then repeat the process. Square root of y squared is y. Copy the sign of the middle term. And then get the square root of the last term, which is 3. And then put squared. And then combine all this. So we have over 4. We have negative 16 plus 9 plus 36. And we have x minus 3 halves, the square of x minus 3 halves plus the square of y minus 3 equals 29 over 4. And that's it. Simplify. Next step. And that's the answer. That's the standard equation. Standard equation pa lang yan. But, what is asked of us is, get the center and the radius. Yun talaga yung pinaka hinahanap natin. So, let's put here, center is, this is the h, and this is the k, and this is the radius. Our h is 3 halves, and our k is 3, and our radius is equal to the square root. Kasi kukunin mo yung square root niyan kasi ito ay naka-r squared. Naka-r squared yan. 29 over 4. Or square root of 29 over 2. And that's it. That's how we do the general equation or transforming from general equation to standard equation. Ginagamit ng standard equation pag kailangan nating mahanap ang center and radius. But if in case siya ay general formula, ma-identify agad natin na circle kasi they have the same numerical coefficient for x squared, y squared. We have the cx, we have the dy, and we have the e. Minsan wala yung cx, wala yung dy, but pag mapapansin ninyo, pareho yung numerical coefficient and degree of x squared and y squared. Ay na yan. Next. Yan. For example, wala dito si dy. Diba? This is ax squared plus ay squared minus cx, walang dy, equals e na agad. Okay? Paano natin isa-solve yan? Okay. Ganito lang yan. Again, first step is grouping. Hanapin mo yung may kagrupo. X squared, pangit ang squared natin, squared minus 6x plus y squared, wala siyang katandem, and then 7. Now, we will use completing the squares. Diba? We will use completing the squares. Ito lang naman ang may middle term eh. Okay? So, next step is 6, negative 6 divided by 2 squared is equal to negative 3 squared equals 9. So, we have x squared minus 6x plus blank plus y squared equals 7 plus blank, and that is 9. Now, ang next step natin ay, yes, express it into a square of binomial and evaluate. Square root of x squared is x. Copy the middle term, the sign of the middle term, and get the square root of the last term, which is 3. Then copy y squared kasi automatically that will be the k is 0. And 7 plus 9 is 16. And that's it. That's the final. That's the equation. That's the standard equation of the circle. However, anong pinapahanap sa atin? You need to identify the center and the radius. Now, the center, this is the h and this is k. K is not present. If it's not present, it means it's 0. So, negative 3, y is 0. Radius is at square root of 16, which is 4. And that's it. That's the center and radius of the circle given the equation x squared plus y squared minus 6x equals 7. And let's have the last example. Identify the center and the radius of the circle with the given equation. 16x squared plus 16y squared plus 96x minus 40 equals 315. This can be a tricky example to work with, but we will try this anyway. Kayang-kaya nyo yan. Ang sabi kanina, we cannot use completing the squares or we cannot transform this into standard equation kasi diba this is a GE or general equation. We cannot transform this having a numerical coefficient greater than 1. Okay, kailangan tanggalin daw natin yan para makagamit tayo na makatransform tayo into standard equation. Now, what shall we do? Again, using the steps, group according to variable. 16x squared. Ang kagrupo niya is plus 96x. Let's group them. Plus 16y squared minus 40y equals 315. Next step is using the GCF or greatest common factor, we will factor out the 16. Factor out natin yung 16 since they are divisible naman by 16. Yung two terms, divisible by 16. Okay, we will factor out 16. 16 divided by 16, x squared is x squared. 96x divided by 16 is 6x plus 16y squared divided by 16 is y squared minus 40y divided by 16 is 5 halves. 5 halves y equals 315. Now, after grouping, mapapansin natin that x squared and y squared are the same in numerical coefficient, which is 1. So, we can now use the completing the squares. Ganito ang gumamit ng completing the squares niya. X squared plus 6x plus blank plus 16 times y squared minus 5y plus blank equals 315 plus 16 times blank plus 16 times blank. Why? Kasi meron tayo ditong 16. So, para ma-equate din natin, lalagyan natin yung 16. Kung ano yung dinagdag natin. Idadagdag natin sa completing the squares. Now, let's take a look at the middle terms. Ang middle term is 6x. 6x, 6 lang pala. Numerical coefficient of the middle term divided by 2 is 3, squared is 9. So, we will add 9 here. 9 plus and 9. Plus 9 and 9. For the second term, we have negative 5 over 2. Then, squared it, we have 25 over... wait. We didn't divide pa pala. Sorry. Negative 5 halves divided by 2. So, cross multiplication yung gagamitin natin. Negative 5 times 1 is 5. 2 times 2 is 4. If you're so used to yung katulad ng dati, wait lang. Negative 5 halves times 2. So, numerator to numerator. Divided by 2 pala. Sorry. 1 half pala, divide pala. Yan. Interchange yung yung positions ng ating divisor and then proceed as in multiplication. Negative 5 over 4. Yun din yun. But mas gusto kong gamitin yung parang proportional way. Yan. Extremes and means. And then, squared the number. We have 5 times 5 is 25. Negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. And then 4 times 4 is 16. And ito yung idadagdag natin sa ating last term, 25 over 16. Ay, sorry. Now, next step is, yes, extract or contract. Gawin natin express the trinomial into square of binomial. So, madali lang naman yun. Let's have 16 times square root of x squared is x. Copy the sign of the middle term. Get the square root of the last term, which is 3. Then put squared plus 16. Square root of y squared is y. Copy the sign of the middle term. And then get the square root of the last term, 5 over 4 squared equals. So we will add all of this. So, for convenience, pwede nyo isolve sa calculator. So, this will be 484. Since it's 484, now we can divide both sides by 16. Then, after dividing by 16, maka-cancel out na sila. Okay? And we are left with the square root of x plus 3 plus y, the square of y minus 5/4 equals. So, isimplify natin to, 1 to 1 over 11. And that's it. Ito na yung standard equation. So, if we want to get the square root na nito, i-express na natin siya into radius, y minus 5/4. We can also express this as 11 over the squared of 11 over 2. And next, the answer will be, identify the center. The center is at negative 3, positive 5 over 4. And the radius is at 11 halves. And that is the answer for the third example. So, I hope marunong na tayong mag-transform ng standard equation to general equation of circle. So, ito ay through practice lang, matututunan din natin. So, thank you very much for watching. Let's proceed to the last video for circles.